Hi guys, this is my service learning project, and if y'all can't tell, I did my service learning at Centerview Baptist Church. They have a mentoring program there. So, to give you a little bit of backstory on the organization overview, it is located in Jacksonville, North Carolina on Piney Green. It is a nonprofit, according to tax terms that I don't understand, and the demographics are very diverse. You have multiple backgrounds, multiple people, and that could be due to the fact that we do live in a military town, so a lot of people are brought here by the military. The specific thing I did at this was I participated with the youth group, specifically in a mentoring program. So I started out with 2 girls. I now have 3, where we just meet one-on-one, talk about their lives. I also attend a lot of their just programs throughout the week, help plan a few this semester, and I am actually getting ready for one right now. So here's a little bit about some of the theories in class that she wanted us to go over. So first is the resilience theory, and hopefully you all know what this is, but if not, resilience theory helps us explain why some people bounce back from events that could be considered traumatic or just big events in life, and how some people don't. Specifically for the 3 girls that I mentored, this can apply to them because they have risks such as death of a parent, whether that be going off to war, because some of them are overseas right now. One of their parents is overseas. I know one of the girls I am actually mentoring, her mother is going through some pretty harsh cancer right now. So that's a big impact for them. And parent is a survivor of cancer. And just the worry that the death of a parent can bring, especially for girls this age who are in high school. Another thing is peer rejection. I thought of this when I was thinking about how much these girls move around, how they've lived in so many different places, some of them overseas and some of them in multiple states, and how they have to essentially reintroduce themselves to a new peer group almost every time they move, which is sometimes 2 to 4 years. So how they face peer rejection almost all the time. Another one is racism. A lot of the girls that I worked with were from different ethnic backgrounds, so they are facing like minute, not very open aggression or racism. A lot of them are going into college now, so they're trying to decide how, their opinions on what's going on in the world. There's some other risk factors, but we won't go all the way into those just because we won't have time. And of course, then I want to talk about the resiliency of C, which is the best part. Out of all 3 of the girls that I have been mentoring, every single one of them has an amazing amount of resiliency, and that could be because they have faced things like having to move all the time and having to, having a perspective on life like, yes, I have to do this or get this homework done, but what's really important is the fact that my dad's home safe. So I can see a tremendous amount of resiliency in them just in having their own life experiences, and their parents. Like, I've met most of their parents, and they're all very positive, trying to keep a positive outlook on things. So resiliency for them has been amazing. I know specifically with the girl her mother is going through cancer, we started to do some of these resiliency tasks that we did in class, and I started kind of giving them to her, and she's been doing them and has noticed that her own resiliency, or she calls it her calmness in life, has kind of risen just because she's been able to kind of set aside these risks and these things that come up in life and live through them. So yeah, on to developmental theory. Okay, so I chose Piaget's stages just because they went beyond just the childhood, and I know Erickson's did as well, but I like this one because it talked about the cognitive experience of these kids, and I was able to kind of see that, especially with working with 7th through 12th grade, just because I was kind of in between the last two stages, so I focused on those. I was able to notice the difference between those who are in 7th grade and those who are in 12th grade, just because in 7th grade, it is true, I've noticed this, that they are starting to understand other people's point of view. They will say statements like, well, I just realized that he might be thinking this instead of me getting angry, or, things like that. I also noticed in the ones who are older that they do have deductive reasoning and more logical thinking, and especially the understanding abstract ideas. Most of my 7th graders, it takes a while for them to understand something that might be a little bit out of the box. Whereas 12th graders, they get it with no problem at all. They do come up with multiple solutions to a problem, and they also can predict a lot of outcomes that could happen. Although I will say there are exceptions to this rule. I have several 7th graders who are very logical, and I have 12th graders who, will make a decision, and I say, okay, that's your decision, but you might want to think that one through. So it's been kind of interesting to see how, yes, this is the overarching idea, but how when you get to the individual level, it's different, especially for the kids that I have been working with. For the theory that I chose was conflict theory, and I chose this one because it just relates very well with the 3 girls that I mentored and what they are facing. So this theory claims that, it's by Karl Marx, and it claims that there is a constant tension between 2 social structures. So social structures can be anything from government programs or to people or just anything like that. So the reason I chose this is especially for these 2 clients that I mentioned that they're facing. So client 1, her mother is facing cancer right now, and she comes from a Hispanic background. So they are having to struggle between a lot of the medical social structures, hospitals, she goes up to Duke a lot, and all those kinds of things, as well as facing the fact that they are Hispanic. So she talks about the racism or discrimination that can happen in these hospitals or something like that. She gave one example was her mother was going in for treatment, and they had a bill due, and I don't know, whoever it is that was telling them about it, just assumed that they couldn't pay. Her family is from like a middle class. They do have a stable lifestyle, but based off of the way they looked, the people at the hospital assumed that they could not pay. And that isn't necessarily true in all cases. They also have to face the fact that when her dad walks in, he is a white man. He gets a lot of respect, but when it's her and her mother walking in by themselves, they have to wait a long time on getting things, and they have to, she just has noticed some subtle things that the medical field as a whole has kind of been in conflict with her and her family and what her mother needs. So that's been kind of the tension there. The other one is, she's awesome. She is black, and she's deciding on where to go to college and get a job. And she is starting to notice, because she has grown up in a diverse community, she's been applying to places that aren't really diverse. So she has started to notice a little bit of subtle discrimination in that sense. And she's also faced it in the education as a societal structure. She asked me the question, why do they need to know my race for my college application? And I tried to explain it to her the best way I could, but she's like, that doesn't make any sense. It should be based off of my grades or how well I've done. So she was just doing that. Sorry, put them in the kennel. So that's why I chose conflict theory, because it was a clear distinction between a government or a big societal structure and how it can affect another societal structure, as in family or the individual, and how it maintains status quo, or the, white are to be on top and then everyone else underneath them. The stereotypes of society and how it maintained that. So thank you. That was my social presentation. Social learning.